Welcome back to Kids Planning.
I'm Allison, this is Daniel.
And today we're asking the question, can kids play Quacks of Quedlinburg?
Quacks of Quedlinburg, or Quacks as a lot of people call it, is a popular game. It's a bag building game, push your luck. It's something that we've actually really enjoyed playing as a family, and I'm excited to break it down to see if it's a good fit for your family.
Yep, so the gameplay itself is pretty simple. We're not going to go through all the rules, but basically you have white tokens and then different colored tokens. White tokens are bad. The other tokens are good. They do good things for you. You start out with everyone starts out with the same set of white tokens and a couple others. You put them in your bag, you shake it around without looking, you reach in and pull it out. So I pulled out a white 3, so that's gonna go 1, 2, 3 spaces from the last space.
And then I pulled out a white 2, so I go 2.
And then you just pull out the next one. This is a 1, that goes there. So basically, when your whites add up to 7 or more, the pot explodes and you
don't get point, or
right,
yes, you can get
that's the push your luck part of it. Is you're trying to get as far as you can on here in your little witch's brew pot without exploding. So you put too many whites in and you explode. So that's the push your luck aspect of the game, is you kind of really need to keep up with what's in your bag, but you reach in blindly and pull one out. So there's another one, so I'm up to 4, and you get more points the farther you go.
So each of the ingredients give you a different benefit. So like when you're getting your points here, you get to choose how much you get to spend in the market for your ingredients. And so then you get to decide what of these, and you'll see on here, this one, a 1 is worth 5, the 2 is 9, 15 for the 4, and they all have that. So then you get to put those in your bag, and that will benefit you while you're going to try to add up more points.
Right, and you add tokens to your bag in between rounds, again, spending points that you earn during the round. There's no turns, everyone goes at the same time. Everyone is playing independently on their own board, which we'll get into later with the interaction part, but in between rounds, it's played over 9 different rounds, and you add tokens to your bag in between rounds. For the most part, you're only adding colored tokens. There's one spot at round 6 where you add one more white token, but otherwise the white tokens are set at the beginning, and you basically increase your chances of pulling out a good token as you add more to your bag. So we're just gonna jump right in to the theme and the artwork. So the theme of the game, and it's really just in the flavor text, it's not in any of the gameplay, is all of the doctors and healers are all in the same place showing off their healing medicines, and that's what you're doing technically, is you're brewing medicine. But
they were called quacks back in the day, so they're kind of playing on that word play of that history of what doctors used to be called. Yeah,
and there's an expansion called the Witch's Brew that obviously brings in kind of a same theme. We haven't played it, but it is called the Witch's Brew. That does so. But it's, as far as the gameplay, all of that element of it is in the flavor text. It's not in the actual gameplay. All of the gameplay is just pulling tokens out and putting it on your board, and then these don't even have any of that in the theme. They just tell you what they do.
Right, and you've got, like, these are the instructor, or the ingredient books, and so you've got a bird skull here. You've got I think it's a skull moth here, a spider, and then it's ginger root, looks like a little mummy.
Yeah.
And then the pot is obviously boiling, and then you can pour in your potion here. So, I mean, you do have that, like, it feels very theme, like it's really, really good with the theme. Yeah. And then you draw a card in between each round. The cards, the top of them is a lady holding a fortune teller, holding her little fortune globe. So there's some, if you don't
crystal
prefer...
ball.
Yeah, crystal ball, that one, fortune globe.
And it's one card for one card affects everybody, so only one card is drawn.
There are no evil words in this or anything like that. There's this one I pulled out and it just says little devil, which...
Lucky devil.
Lucky devil, I can't read upside down.
But even these, all of the actual instructional text is just, if your pot explodes this round, the player to your left gets any 1-2 chip.
Right.
So even within the game, there's no ongoing text, not really any text in the cards, anything like that points to a witchcraft theme or anything like that. All of that is in the flavor text. It's not even heavy in the flavor text.
Not.
It's just one of those you may want to know ahead of time kind of the theme of it. But as far as the gameplay and the theme, there is nothing that we find troublesome in the actual gameplay, or in we have no problem with the theme itself, but some people are sensitive to that, and that's fine. And then the artwork, though, other than the crystal ball and those little things, the artwork is very tame. You can see pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
You can see pretty much all of the artwork in the game, other than the books have different artwork on the front and back, but again, nothing troubling there. As far as language dependence, the books tell you what the tokens do when you draw them, and the cards have reading on them. It is all public information.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can always ask a question. And also, like, even though everyone's playing at the same time, if I need to read something to Peyton, if he needs to be reminded of what one of the ingredients does, pausing my pulling out of the bag to remind him what that says isn't going to make him get ahead of me or make anyone else. It's not a timed game. We're just all playing at the same time. Right. So stopping to read that to remind a child who can't read it right away is not that big of a deal.
The round goes until everyone has until their pot explodes or they decide to stop because they don't want their pot to explode. So language dependence is pretty minimal in this part of the game, and the pulling it out and building this, there's no language dependence. It's just knowing what each of the tokens do for you, which they're pretty simple. So, and they do have icons that help you. So if you can't read, it does
kind of have an idea to remind you what it's doing.
Yeah, it does remind you what it does without having to read.
And then when it comes to memory, kind of stepping into that, just remembering what those are. I know I rarely get the black tokens or the dark blue, I guess, in my bag, or even the purple. I rarely purchase those. So if I have them in my bag, I don't really remember what they are. So a lot of times I have to stop and remember. I was like, what does this one do again? So that's the only memory involved, is remembering what's going on.
I'm gonna couple memory and math together on this one, because the math, you're adding up points, you are adding the white tokens together, the points are tracked on this score tracker, so there's not a lot of math there other than just being able to add up your score. But you have a bag full of tokens that you have been building,
that's true. Okay.
and being able to track what you have in your bag, and I think math, you're constantly doing math throughout the game, in that you are tracking what's in your bag, and the ability to kind of come up with statistics in your head of, okay, there's 3 in there, I know I have 10 other tokens in there, so I've got there's 4 white tokens left in the bag, there's 6 good tokens, so I have just about a little better than a 50-50 chance of pulling out something good. Or there's 1 white token left and there's 10 bad ones, or there's 1 white token and 10 good ones. I have a really good chance. Like, as you're going through the push your luck element, being able to track what's in your bag and kind of run those numbers in your head really makes a difference in sometimes in how you do in the game. Sometimes you just do terrible and you pull out all 7 of your white tokens first, even though you have 10 other tokens in the back. Like, it just...
See, he plays strategically like that. I rarely am being like, okay, I think I have 3 left in the back. I just pull him.
Yeah, I get down
He's very strategic.
I get down to doing the math and thinking, okay, I've got a 33% chance of pulling out a bad one. I'm okay with that.
So, Jared does the same thing. Peyton and I are just like, woo!
So the memory and the math to me kind of go hand in hand, because the math, as far as scoring, is super simple. You're just counting. As far as using your points, kind of deducting your points and being able to figure out, I have 20 points, what can I buy? That's really simple. But the ongoing math, which really goes into the complexity and the strategy of the game, and the strategy is reach in the bag and pull stuff out. You can't control what you get.
It's purely push your luck.
All of the tokens feel exactly the same. You can't reach in and see, okay, this one feels like it is a push your luck. And again, sometimes no matter how many good tokens you have in the bag, you pull out all the white flowers and your pot explodes before you can get to anything. No matter how well the odds are in your favor, you just blow up your pot right off the bat. So
yeah. And I also think that's a good point to go and just step into downtime too, because everyone's playing at the same time, so there's not really that downtime. But say your pot explodes, so now you're sitting there while everyone else is still going. You would think that, it might be boring to some, but when my pot explodes, I like watching everyone else push a luck, and it's really exciting when they're just like, okay.
It's really it's really fun watching Jared kind of mull over, and he'll reach into his bag and he'll stop, and he'll reach into it again, and nope, I'm gonna wait.
I'll keep going.
And then his pot explodes. It's kind of
So my pot may exploded, but I am still enjoying watching them, even though it is downtime of the game, and that's really all that's.
Yeah, the downtime is really just when you have decided to stop or your pot has exploded and everyone else goes. But again, everyone is doing this at the same. You start the round, and everyone independently reaches in on their own, adds to their own pot. There's no interaction between players. The only kind of confrontation between players would be egging other people on, trying to get them. Come on, you got pretty good odds. Go ahead and pull another round.
Keep going.
So that's really, there's no actual head-to-head confrontation. Yeah. It's just kind of the table talk kind of dynamic that you could consider confrontation. But other than that, no confrontation between players.
Really?
So the scoring is pretty straightforward. You score based on how far you get in the pot. You move your little marker around the board. There's a really good catch-up mechanic.
I really like this catch-up mechanic.
However many rat tails are between you, and I don't know if you can see those rat tails really well.
Little rats.
But however many rat tails are between you and the player in the lead, you get to start that far ahead in your pot that turn. So here I'd get 1, 2, 3. So I would start from 3 and start building from there, where Allison would still be building from 0. So it's a really good catch-up mechanic that gives you a pretty good advantage, chance to get ahead. But again, this entire game purely comes down to luck. You have, other than putting more tokens in your bag, and sometimes that doesn't even do it, you are fully at the will of whatever you pull out of this bag, and however that bag decides to be nice to you or mean to you.
And I will say, because, I mean, if you're playing with younger kids, no one wants to play with a cheater.
Yeah.
So just remind your kids not to look in the bag, to feel, make sure they're just pulling one out, lay it on the table if you need to do that, and to not be looking in your bag. It happens. It just needs to be reminded sometimes, because it's not fun when you look and someone's going through their bag when everyone else has their own focus on their own pot.
Right.
So there's just something to note.
Make sure that you shake all the tokens down into one corner so they don't get...
I had one stuck, or a couple stuck one time, and I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I didn't pull those out.
Yeah, you're reaching down into this corner down here, and there's only 3, and then all your good ones are over here in this corner just hiding from you. So for us, and I think for a lot of people, the can kids play aspect of this game is really going to come down...
to theme.
Not to theme.
No? Okay.
It's going to come down to your kid's tolerance for push your luck and for just getting beat by the game. Because again, I keep saying it, sometimes you pull out every good token and you make it so far around, and sometimes it's just white flower, white flower, white flower. And
Danielle's over there going, oh, come on!
Yeah. I've got a 1 in 97 chance. Like I've got
he keeps pulling the white ones.
Still pulling out the white flowers. So
it's funny when it happens to him. Yeah. I have to be really encouraging when it happens to Peyton or Jared.
So it really is. It really comes down to your tolerance for just being frustrated at the game. If they can handle that, and this, as far as push your luck, as frustrating as it can be, it never feels mean, because you're not
playing against other players.
Playing against other players. You're not even really playing against the game. You're just pulling tokens out and putting them on the board. So it doesn't feel mean where, even like in a game like Farkle, where you're passing dice to other people and really putting them in a position to have to make like a clutch decision, and they're going to lose tons of points. Like there is zero interaction between players as far as pulling the tokens. So just whatever their tolerance is, if you've got younger players who don't lose graciously, this may be a hard one for them, because you can do great and by no fault of their own they can do terrible, or vice versa. So that's really the can kids play, and this, as long as nothing in the theme is off-putting to you, it comes down to their tolerance for that.
That's true.
I mean, we enjoy it. We've had no problem. Peyton takes a little bit to understand what all the tokens do. Like that took a little bit to really come up with strategy there. But otherwise, we've had no real issues playing it.
No, he really enjoys the game. He loves the colors. He really likes the theme as well. So Peyton really, he's our 8-year-old, and then Jared loves the strategy and just kind of pushing his luck that way. It's really fun to watch.
But as far as complexity and the rules, it's a very simple game, very straightforward rules. Like
I said, we haven't played any of the expansions, so we can't really speak on those yet. Hopefully we'll be able to do that in the future. Yeah,
but for us, it's a game that we enjoy. It comes out regularly for us.
So that's kind of our breakdown of Quacks of Quedlinburg. If you have another game that you'd like us to break down, just to have a better idea of what to expect when you get the game to the table, to see if it's a game you'd like to invest in for your family, leave us a comment and let us know below, and we'd love to break that game down for you.
And that's why we do these videos, is to help you figure out which games are going to be a good fit for you. And games are an investment. Some games are cheap, some games aren't cheap. So we want to help you figure out which games are going to be the best investment, the best fit for your family and for you to spend your hard-earned money on. So if you like Quacks, if you feel like that's going to be a good fit, we will leave a link in the description so you can find where to pick that up. And while you're down there, be sure to hit that subscribe button right here.
And we have a couple other videos you can check out right over here. Until then, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.